and all sorts.
Yeah, you can. You're lucky, aren't you? It's saying live, so I'm just going to check on Facebook now if it is live. Let me just have a look, and if it is, I'm just going to share it fast. I can't see it at the minute. So let me check again. Because who knows, they do mess about with our videos. Here we are.
Yeah, it's fine. You're lucky,
Right,
aren't you?
let me turn this down. Hi, if anyone can see this at the moment, please just bear with me while I share this. Oh, hi, Charlotte. Just bear with me a second.
Yeah,
Because they don't allow me or Dave to join each other's live. We're streaming through StreamYard. So let me just see if I can tag you, Dave.
Tracy's doing the technical bit here, guys.
Yeah, trying to. Dave, at the moment, can't, for some reason, he can't use video because he's got to update his phone on StreamYard. So we're just seeing how this goes. We're just going to do a video for about 20 minutes live on here. And what we decided we was going to do tonight was take people's questions, because I received so many, because so many people are obviously in fear and concerned of what is going on in the country right now. I get many messages, and so does Dave, some really heartbreaking ones. So we thought tonight, if anyone is concerned or worried and they would like to ask us any questions that we may be able to answer for you, then please go ahead and ask some questions. If you just give me 1 minute, I do apologise. We don't normally do it through this way, so I'm just going to try and tag Dave and share this. Thank you. Isn't it funny? There you are. So if I can tag you, done. Save.
Yeah, I mean, if anybody's out there got any questions and they are concerned, or more importantly, if you know anybody that is concerned and have worries, your neighbours or people that you know, if we can't answer tonight, Tracy, then I'm sure we can take questions and try and get back to people, perhaps on Saturday or something, and I should have my phone done by then.
Yeah, so we're going to try and come back on Saturday, like Dave just said. And if there is anyone else that is worried, and for anything, worried for a loved one, worried for their self, or any questions that you might think of between now and then, we will do another live on Saturday night. So we're just going to do one for about 20 minutes. And thank you, Donna. She's doing a watch party for us. I'm just going to make this bigger.
Thank you.
That's better. So if you have, hi Stuart, Cole, Katrina, and everyone joining, for some reason it is not letting me share this, no, to other pages. So if you could share, that would be great. I'll be able to share this after, but obviously people are not going to be able to get their questions in. Hi Marsh, thank you. Yes, justice for Josh, Harry and George. And all the other children that have lost their lives or have been abused in this horrendous country and across the world, because what's happening here is happening across the world. Dave, I've been able to tag you in, but it's not letting me share the video, unfortunately. So if there's anyone on my page, hi Patricia, if there is anyone on my page that would like to ask us, me or Dave, if we can answer any question of yours to assist in making you feel a bit more at ease what is going on in this country right now. Hi Joel and hi Linda. I just want to say that someone did message me the other day, and they know who they are. And they did ask me about the so-called forced vaccinations and the Nuremberg Code. Now, no one can force vaccinate you. The only time that, now I used to work in the NHS profession, so I know about mental capacity and doles and everything else. So the only time that someone in the medical profession can use what they feel is the right thing to do or the best interests of the person, the client. I don't like using the term person, but I'll use it for a moment. That they can decide to inject a person is if they lack capacity. Other than that, they cannot force vaccinate you. Now, as I've said before, they will use any trickery, any deception, whatever they can use to make you think that this can be done. They can't say to you either that you have to stay in your home unless you are vaccinated. You have the Nuremberg Code that protects you. Now, you will get trolls and people online water that down and pretend to you that was just with regards to people who were disgustingly and horrendously experimented on in the wartime. You know, they treat us as lab rats, don't they? So it wouldn't surprise me that it doesn't, you know, that it still goes on to today. But you do have also that protects you. Yeah, everything. And if you just remember this, because there's a lot to learn about the law, there's a lot in this legal realm that they created to learn, that consent is law. If you just remember that consent is law, and believe me, it is. Now, online, as you know, Dave, now Dave does a lot in Wales, because that's where Dave lives, and he's very much active in Wales. They will also create what you're seeing on Facebook is a lot of mini videos, you know, to scaremonger you, say, I don't, you know, I like people to do their own research. I don't expect anyone to believe me in what I say. I expect people, and hopefully, to do their own due diligence and research on the things we say. Now, the Nuremberg Code, you can look up yourself because it's about being vigilant. It's about having knowledge and knowing what they're doing and knowing how you can stand your own ground yourself and that you have your own free will to choose. Go on, Dave. Is there anything you want to say? I can't see any questions yet because I can't share the feed.
Just to simplify that, Tracy, I think the Nuremberg Code, I mean, perhaps we could put a link into it and to that, but just to simplify it, the whole thing about vaccines is that it's done by consent. So if you do not consent and there is no contract, then they cannot administer that lawfully or legally. So, you know, it's all about you consenting. And before anybody does take up the option of a vaccine, I'd ask them to do some due diligence and look into the vaccine market. The one striking thing about this new vaccine is that there is no liability claims that can be brought against Pfizer or any other vaccine company doing a vaccine for COVID-19. That liability has been struck off. It's the first vaccine ever in history that hasn't got any liability. If you look at how much
just to say, can I jump in with that? I'll let you carry on, Dave. Kate, I'll answer your question in a moment. Just to say, Dave, you're correct in what you're saying, because if you give consent to have that vaccine and anything does happen, then the Nuremberg Code obviously won't protect you either because you gave your consent. Yes. Go on, Dave.
And what happens is when you give that consent, that overrides the actual Nuremberg Code. So they're not administering it without your consent. So if you look at the Nuremberg Code first, and then you get to that. But the striking thing I've looked at is if you look at how many claims have been made against Pfizer. They have paid out billions in claims. And you ask yourself the question, if they've paid out billions in these vaccines for people that have been life-changing injuries and death, why has that been taken away from this this vaccine? So do you want to pick up on that, Trace?
Well, you know, it's a bit more difficult for me to go along those lines because, you know, for me, I believe this is all a switch. Yeah? I believe COVID is all a diversion and it's about making millions from the flu vaccine. That's my personal opinion on this, on knowing how they work in the last 3 years in my research, you know, obviously because of what was done for me. So someone's put taxpayers has paid it, no, the Vax company. I missed your point again, Dave, on that because I'm waiting just to answer Kate's. Can you relay that last bit to me? Are you there, Dave? I hope Facebook haven't knocked him off. Can you hear me, everyone? Hi, Jamie. Nora, love you too. See you soon. Can someone just let me know if they can hear me? I don't know if I've lost Dave or I've lost myself on here. No, I've lost Dave. Hopefully he'll be back in a minute. Right. Kate, going on to your question, just in case anyone can't see it, Kate has asked, what will happen in the care homes, people who are not mentally able to say no, e.g. dementia, do they ask permission from a relative? Now, it's an industry I know. Oh, here's Dave. Sorry. Right. Hi, Dave. You're back in. Thank you. It's an industry that I know well, Kate. Now, what a lot of people forget when their parents, their loved one, their wife or their husband start showing signs of dementia, and the family tend to then go and get power of attorney. And a lot of people, when they get power of attorney, usually get the one power of attorney for financial, when there's two. There's financial and there is the health and well-being, which means you override everything and you have their say in their care and, you know, their care package and what they receive and so on. Now, as next of kin alone, you should, you are here, Dave. Can you hear me? I don't know if he can hear me. Yeah, you should, as next of kin, be informed and asked. But like I said, you know, they can override things if you don't hold the health and well-being. But anyone who lacks capacity, there should be a dole's paperwork on them on that. Do you have someone who lacks capacity in the care home that's in a care home, Kate? I hope Facebook are not messing about with us, which I think they are, you know, which usually happens of late, shadow banning us, and we can't do a normal straight live to live from me on Dave's phone straight onto his phone. I don't know if I can be heard. Ollie is saying pharmaceutical companies are immune from prosecution. The taxpayers pay the compensation from taxpayers' money. Well, there's loads of questions you can ask. So yes, going back to Kate, if you've definitely got the health and well-being power of attorney and your next of kin, then they should be checking with you. Normally, you know, people, you know, I've dealt with many patients with dementia that don't have family, but always remember, people, that there's two parts to a power of attorney, and it's not just financial, it is health and well-being, and make sure you get both. Yeah. No, they do not like us. They do not. So, a couple of things. You know, all this money they're paying out for furlong, and we know there's a different end game to all of that. You know, and yet prior to this, we was meant to be in this great debt deficit, wasn't it? So where's all this money coming from? Where is it all coming from? And I'll ask you one other. I was going to leave you with this question, and it's one question that if we have left the European Union, why are we still paying VAT? Because anyone in a non-European country doesn't pay VAT. And if you go on holiday and you go to a country that is in the European Union and you pay VAT, when you go back to your own country, you can claim it back. But no one's mentioned about the VAT. So I just thought I'd throw that in. They all work for the system. It's about control. 100%, James. And the sad thing is, like I said before, the media are the propaganda arm for the establishment. I know that firsthand. That's exactly what they are. And 99.9% of their stories that they print are fake. So, and they use your emotions for everything. This is a psychological warfare. And they use your emotions for everything. So I'll give you an example. When everyone starts waking up and getting angry because they realise what the police are, they will then create a story which is fake and staged to then make you feel sorry for the police in a story that they fakely create. And they do this all the time. They're making little mini videos up online, arresting people continually, scaring you that if you go out of your house and you go up London or whatever, you're going to be arrested, you're going to get a £10,000 fine. I've said to you before, there's maxims of law. He who does not know his rights has none, and he who wishes to be deceived will be deceived. Because this is all about deception. All of it. Yeah, commercials, jab and go. Exactly, Teresa. The thing is, with this, you tell a lie often enough to people, it becomes the truth. Yeah, Joseph Goebbels, as I've mentioned before, was a propagandist, and he made Hitler look good to the German people so that they would go to war. It's the same tactics they use now. It's a communist trick. Absolutely. And when people were in fear, they can't think critically. Now, I had a friend, she worked in the hospitals, and she was working in the hospitals during March, June, and July. But she was someone who was aware of what was going on. So she found it very difficult to work in the hospital. She doesn't work in the hospitals no more because she couldn't handle it. And what she was seeing was people coming in who were psychosomatic. So if they were coughing a lot, they then assumed that they had COVID, and then they would get taken to what the hospital made a COVID area to make it worse, when all the person was really suffering from was anxiety. Yeah, psychosomatic. So it's very, very hard. No, I was just concerned by Doris. I'm just reading Kate. No, I was just concerned by Doris' comments today rolling out. I know of many who want to know this. For instance, if you say no to the vaccine in light of the situation, and not all can have it because of medical contradictions, I wondered how these people would be treated. I'm probably being sinister, but I can't help it. Now, I don't think you're being sinister, Kate, and I think it's good to question everything. But I also won't believe, how can I put it? I also wouldn't believe everything that someone tells you just because they look like they have some sort of standing in a medical profession, or because they're saying what you want to hear. What we have to remember is they know that people in this country are aware of the sinister and bad things that are going on. So what they have to do is put people out at street level to control the narrative of the people that are aware. Believe me, and I don't like saying it because it's awful, right? I'm out on the streets a lot and I've seen many things and obviously a lot more things because of what I'm involved in myself. But 99.9% of the protests you see out there are controlled protests. When you turn up for a protest and you're being led through a park and the police have all the details, that's a controlled protest. That's what it is. And we are being fooled by many. And there's lots of ways you can work out who is fooling you. Lots of ways. I'll give you an example. On YouTube, someone who speaks out and yet they have thousands of views, maybe between 40 and 90 views on a video they've done, and yet the real people that are speaking out might be lucky enough to get 600 views. Yeah, because Google own YouTube. Yeah, Facebook, Twitter, they're all owned by the same people, government owned, and they use algorithms. Back in the 90s, I used to be a web designer. Yeah, and they use algorithms and things like that. For example, if you was to go and watch my YouTube and all my YouTube videos, all of a sudden on the right, where they suggest a video for you, you will see a video of me. And you click on that video of me, and what you'll see, it's where the trolls have done a video of me to paint me in a bad light. So therefore, someone who doesn't know me, who's just come across my videos, will look at my videos and think, oh my God, look at this. Then they will come to the video where they've got the trolls making me and painting me to be something I'm not, to then portray me as something else, and someone seeing that video will just think all the videos they've just watched of me are a load of rubbish. It's very clever how they do it. But once you wake up to how they do it and know what they've done, you can start seeing all these fake videos on Facebook, the videos where someone appears out of nowhere, or they've just been arrested and all of a sudden they're doing demonstrations. Or they're the only person who seems to have got this certificate in the care industry for caring for patients with COVID when they didn't care for any, and they're speaking out and then going and doing protests. We're being fooled by so many people. Yeah, you need to be out there to see the truth. Absolutely, Sean or Sheen. Sorry if I'm not pronouncing it right. You do need to be out there to see the truth. And, you know, before this happened to me and before this happened to my son, I didn't know what was going on the streets. I didn't know all these things were happening in the country. But in the industry, I sit and think to myself, would I have realised that something wasn't right now if that hadn't have happened to me? Would I have realised what they was doing now? Well, I believe I would have, because my brain thinks logically anyway, but also because it was in the NHS that my industry was in, I would have definitely noticed things. And I think right now, they are showing you more than ever their hand. And we have to question why they're doing that. Are they doing that to bring on a civil war because history repeats itself? Yeah, the serpent eating its tail. Are they aiming for that? When we all know non-compliance, everyone getting up and opening up their businesses that are going to fail, and they'll buy them all back up, won't they? Because all the corporations are working. They're all working. Go out, do what you normally would do, and don't fear. And non-compliance would change this. But making everyone aware of what's going on right now is the hardest part. As we all know, Dave, it's a shame he can't get on, obviously. Thank you, Facebook. But in Wales, in his town, he is the only one not wearing a mask. Here's the only one. And he has had many calls because he's well known where he lives from the elderly. He has a call from the elderly, I can't say too much, but from an 87-year-old woman that is crying down the phone and hasn't seen anyone since June this year. That's it, Nora. You live it as you normally can. I know. There you go, Dave. There you are. So what we'll do, we'll retry this because it hasn't gone to plan. And I'm really sorry it hasn't. So I've waffled a bit here. On Saturday, Dave has sorted his phone out. On Saturday night, we will try and arrange another one and get this sorted properly because it has sort of messed up a bit. But again, thank you for joining. Oh, 87-year-old that's been crying down the phone. And absolutely, James, you've only got to look online. I was saying to Dave earlier, go onto YouTube, look up something simple like The Voice UK or X Factor UK or Britain's Got Talent UK, and you'll see it all now says global. The amount of stuff that is going on in the background while everyone is diverted and being put into fear with this chaos, because out of chaos comes order. Yeah. And this is how they do it. A lot of old people too scared to come out, absolutely, because they've been made to fear, and it is horrendous that is going on. And what we have to do, we have to get our truth and impose it on them and stand our ground. But there's a lot to go over. I can't do it all now. I was just going to do 20 minutes with Dave, and then Dave's just saying in there 2 attempted suicides. Absolutely, signs on ambulances and everything else. So everyone, take care. I'm sorry this hasn't gone to plan tonight. And absolutely, Nora, fear is the worst thing, and no one can think critically when they are fearing. So everyone, I'll talk to you soon. Hopefully me and David get this sorted out on Saturday, and it'll be a bit more of a better video for you. And if we can share it and answer, no, Spain didn't. They have a right to refuse the vaccine. Listen, no matter what trickery or fake propaganda pieces that they put out on YouTube or on Facebook, consent is law. And always remember this. Remember, the devil deceives in many ways. And absolutely, James, they are in the numeral, I can't even pronounce it, order of 33. Absolutely, James, I'm with you on that one. They say in the beginning was the word, but it wasn't. In the beginning was the word, numbers and letters and symbols, yeah? And there's lots of different ways in how these people speak to each other, and they don't just use words. But I'll leave that for another time. So everyone, take care. Yeah, like Dave said, I know it's hard. But like what David said, everyone needs to calm down and question everything. Yeah, this is a diversion. It'll always be about what you're not seeing. And that's why they don't want you to see me and Dave together tonight. And I'll see you all Saturday night with Dave Simpson. Hopefully, we'll get it right next time. Thank you, everyone. Take care. And remember, I haven't gone anywhere, and you're not on your own. And we can do this.